I know that death comes in threes. I know that death comes in threes. I know death comes in threes. I know that death comes in threes, boy. Well, them fabulous mixtapes, fire, summertime shootouts, yeah, what? That's how I work out to. I don't know about y'all. And the funeral.
Are you talking about the Lil Wayne joint?
No, we don't.
Lil Wayne joint?
We don't do Wayne over here.
Do Wayne? What?
All fabulous.
What?
It's all fabulous. All the fabulous mixtapes, man. And sometimes Shootout 3. That was that joy. Fabulous had that mixtape series, man. I know that death comes in threes. Ooh, boy, how you doing today?
Good, man. This crazy weather we got going on. Good, man.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Like McDonald's right now, like Calvin with a job right now, with Sweetie with the messed up meal count right now. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, like Jack Harlow fake rapping account. Yo, I'm feeling it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I hate white people that rap.
But you gotta do like
No, the only one I have Eminem. He's the only one.
What about Third Base?
Is he really white?
One's Jewish.
Okay.
And one guy Jewish. Search is Jewish, and I think my man was Italian.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Third Base. Yeah, I rock with them. I can't. The gas face. I can't front on them.
What about Drake? Just joking.
I chose Wale. It was a choice I had to make. We already had one light skin with J. Cole, and I was like, well, I have to pick between Wale and Drake, and I chose Wale, and I'm sticking to my guns.
Okay.
Wale, we ride a Wale. Now I have no issue with white rappers. I just have an issue with white rappers that forget black people when they make it. But that's a different story. But that's our fault. So, welcome to another episode of Let the Madness Begin. William Coleman, Marshawn Taylor, and today is an interesting topic day. I guess it's a long time coming, and I guess you could say that this topic has been swimming around us, especially over the last 24 hours, which you could say kind of pieced everything together. And are we really the coolest monkeys in the jungle? I'm just playing.
We're having a monkey discussion again?
We're having monkey shootouts. Isn't that what is considered? Aren't we acting the ass?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And now you proposed the question: it has the violence exceeded years before? Of course, we've been in the midst of, I guess you could call it the violence season. I guess it's been multiple deaths within the confines of one violence. I guess that's how you could put it. So for people who don't know, it's like doing a shoot, a drive-by, and you hit multiple people. Except, they're calling it mass shootings because it's white people, but in black communities, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying. So before we go down to that question, I want to ask you, why do you think the violence has started to escalate in our society?
We have no decorum anymore. Decorum is out the window. Think about how we carry ourselves. There's no real. We've gotten away from the way things used to be and should be. Everything done in an orderly fashion, in an orderly manner. You go to a church, you go to anything. I mean, that's to celebrate a moment, or anything that's a milestone to observe a milestone. There's always a certain amount of decorum that always should be. Like you said, you allow that time for those people to enjoy their time. And we've gotten away from to where whatever happens before and after, what happens before leading up to that moment carries over into that time. And I think it's a shame now you think about it's going to get to the point. So for instance, like you're saying, you would just say, for instance, like, I was just told, young lady, she went to a graduation yesterday, at the local Coliseum, and there was fights because the high schools, they're now the local high schools, which will probably start changing to use the Coliseum for space to allow allow more people to come to the graduations, because a lot of the gyms, they only could hold but so many people.
Right. And so, this is the first, right? Put in perspective, it's the first class to walk in about 2 years.
Yeah.
Put it in perspective.
Since COVID,
Yeah, so this really is a big milestone.
It's the first class to walk in 2 years in the Coliseum. So, and I graduated from local high school.
Right.
From here. We graduated in a hot ass gym. My class was probably the biggest class in over 20 years. And that's probably around the time when my parents graduated from high school. Over 1,000, almost up to close to 1,000 students walked. So you imagine how many parents actually come to a little gym, to see their relatives graduate. So to accommodate that, Charleston was gracious enough to allow high schools to come and use their facilities to hold a graduation. So to get to the point of today, well, she said yesterday she observed. Well, she got a video of a fight to where blood was shed, severely shed. And then the graduation she was at, there was fight. They didn't even complete the ceremony. They didn't get through the whole ceremony. They had to stop the ceremony. And then there was a shootout in the parking lot at the Coliseum. So my thing is this. Should we just go ahead and have one big MMA tournament, one big slugfest, instead of having instead of buying a nice dress, buying the cap and the gown, some boxing gloves, a mouthpiece, a nice little outfit, little box, little fighter's robe, walk up to and you just have that whoever because from the way I've understood it, it was the graduating class and then people in the audience, relatives, they can't hold it until after the following day, the next week, or just let it go all together.
So there used to be rules, unwritten rules in life,
right?
They called it a street code.
Mm-hmm.
You used to not kill women or children. You used to try not to shoot up people's houses.
Right.
You try to keep family out of it.
Stay with some schools.
Right. It really was a code. But thanks to the West Coast, y'all bastards, y'all just threw that out the window. But, and I'm not joking, they threw that out the window. They were, if you listen to them, they're the inventors of the drive-by and everything. And,
okay. Well, they can keep that.
Yeah. So the whirly bird and everything, they used to love that stuff. Yeah. Okay. But it actually used to be a code. That is true. It used to be a code where it was you, and I didn't come after you on certain days. Even if you look at old Italian movies, the wedding was one of those special days. No matter what you had going on, it never affected that moment.
Right.
So rules of engagements are out. There's no more rules of engagement. No more Geneva Convention. Might as well say it's on site rather with people. It's weird because you don't even know what they're arguing about anymore.
No, it can be over the littlest things, and this the thing of pettiness is get to the point to where it's just overbearing to you. The littlest things is causing the greatest divides, and it's just so shameful. It's shameful. You know, we don't. Some things like you know your mom and dad raised you better, but you chose to ignore what you've been shown.
So that's actually one of the things I wanted us to talk about. So we'll go ahead and talk about it. So, of course, I'm a hypocrite and I do go to church. So I'll put that out there. So you know.
Okay, I got you. I mean, we're all hypocritical in some sense,
and it's a white pastor too. So you know, I'm all in. Go ahead and put that out there.
Well, you financing his school that they.
I ain't say that yet. Let's bump the brake for that one.
You trying to build a school too?
Yeah.
I was giving who my money your money.
Yeah, I ain't got no one about to hit me up. Oh, you gonna give him your money?
Okay. Give him your money.
Yeah, but you know, he actually brought up a good point about parenting, and he said he feels that one of the issues that we're having in our society is the lack of parenting.
True, I do agree, and I think because I think we're so worried about disciplining our kids, and they're going to the authorities, and authorities come to the house and asking questions, observing, disrupting, possibly taking the kids away. We worry about the teacher stepping in and causing. We worry about. It's like we close each other. We close down our households from each other, and we're like you said, we're no longer neighborhoods. We're just neighbors. You know, we're no longer villages. We're just people that live in a neighborhood, but we're just neighbors. We barely associate. You know, we may see hi bye, you know, in the driveway, walking by, working out, driveway. However, you know, we don't interact like we used to. You know, we don't have company, you know, as in your next door neighbors, people that live around you. You know, if wherever you come over, live down the street, you know very well. But usually, when I was coming up, you knew everybody around your block because in case something happens in the neighborhood, somebody's always looking out for you. You know, somebody's always keeping an eye on you. You know. When Dad says, "Oh, I'm running late," the car broke down. Hey, I can call, you know, Mr. Car next door, and when you walk up, hey, your dad said he's gonna be home for a little while, but hey, you can come over a little while and have something to eat if he's not here at such and such time, you know. But we've gone away from the way things used to be.
I'm a bad neighbor, so I can't speak to that. I'm a horrible neighbor. I don't do nothing for my neighbors. I don't even like them. They look around, I look at them, and I give them that look like, if you think anything about me, I will probably make it true. I give them that look like,
that vibe.
Yeah, like if he's selling drugs, I probably am. Just to make you fear me more. Sometimes I'll just walk outside just naked and just drink coffee, just looking at my neighbors like, I just want you to say something to me. Yes, that's that type of neighbor.
Right.
Nah, let me stop. Well, I'm not. I have realized I'm not a friendly neighbor, but it's not on purpose. It's just.
But then to be friendly, and you can be courteous. You know, like I said, even a small conversation.
No, I do that,
and even because you never know what you may find out about a person, and not necessarily you can use them for something, but you never know how they can help you. You know, down the road.
No, I agree.
You know, and I'm just talking about neighbors and stuff about in general, anybody. Because I remember the crazy thing, and odd thing about I remember even going to school is I never went to school to make friends. I just went to school to get an education. But somehow I always managed to make friends. Same thing with the Army. I just don't know how to do the Army thing yet. As you can see. I don't here with this guy. So, but I mean, and even then, it's not that you become dependent, but at the same time, you know that there's always somebody there to lean on when the day. And sometimes you know you're leaning on them, you know, but they're there for you, you know. So I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. We I don't know. I think we just as a society, as an American society. Oh man, we're slowly on the decline. You know.
I will like to stick with the parents.
Okay.
I do think parenting
is important.
Is
it is very important,
and it's hard to be a parent.
It
However,
is.
I think the hardest part is when parents don't want to be parents.
But see, that's not fair then, and that's the thing I don't like, and that's the emphasis me off. It's like you did a deed that created life, and one thing my cousin, like, it dawned on me one day. It's like, and you think it's kind of crazy when she said it, but I thought the first time it makes sense. It's like when you create a child, you're taking, as they say, one of God's angels, in a sense. So in a sense, it's your job to pour into the right things in order to be a better person on this earth. You know, and pour means what you're telling them, what you're showing them, as in what they see, what's going on around them, what you're dealing with, how you handle them. Everything. I mean, regardless of what shortcomings they may come with, it's a disability, whatever. I mean, but I think we've gotten lazy, and I mean not you or me specific, but us as a whole, because we stick them in front of the TVs, we throw a cell phone in front of them, a tablet, video game console, and we don't pour in them correctly. We allow, like I said, these video games, these videos to pour in them. Do we ever sit down and read a book with them? Do we ever sit down and have a conversation when everything happens? Like I said, remember I asked you that one time about, like I said, spend time with them, not to where, you know, it's an inconvenience for you. You genuinely want to spend time with them, because kids know when you're being genuine about them and the time you give them. You know, don't give them a time slot. You just give them time, period. You know, you may every now and again have to schedule certain things, but no, give them the time, give them the effort, give them the love, be tentative, be a parent. You know, be how you say the discipline. You hand out the discipline, but at the same time, the punishment and reward, you know, but don't reward them because you scared to punish them, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you know, don't be afraid of, you know, and I think we've gotten away from that a lot, you know, a lot more. Hey, tough love. God had to tell a few people that, hey, no, don't be afraid to give your kids tough love, because they're gonna need it. They're gonna need it, because if you're not tough on them there in the house, how you think they're gonna handle being when it gets tough out there in the world, and you're not there for them, or you can't be able to be there for them?
I agree.
You know, who's gonna, like I said, no, they may not have to. And it'd be lovely sometimes the kids are born in situations where they don't have to get it out the mud. Horrible thing, you know, but at the same time, they shouldn't have to do it on their own, or at least learn have to have the, what do you call it? What's the good word?
Wits.
Yeah, the wisdom to figure out the best way to do so without having to put themselves in jail, in the hospital, or even the morgue.
Okay, I agree. But what about, because I don't think we really understand parenting like we used to, because number one, I do believe parenting now is trying to go away from what parenting used to be, because we view parenting how it used to be is, because you hear the term best friend now, you hear the term with and this is not me picking on anybody, but you see the mother daughter doing these dances together, and it's like, well, why? Oh, we look like sisters. Well, then are you worried about looking like a sister, or are you worried about looking like a mother? Because if she's looked at you like she's your sister.
So what kind of dances are you talking about? Are you meaning
any dance? I'm not dancing with my daughter.
Okay.
I'm not doing no TikTok dances with my daughter. We're not busting it or nothing. We're not doing no.
So you're not doing them. So okay. So you like?
Well,
would you have a problem doing the extra slide with your daughter?
That's different.
Okay.
It's usually at a cookout,
right?
And most of the old people know these are women who get with their daughters.
They're doing it, yeah.
Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, and you're like, well,
they're trying to work making these.
Yeah, and it's like, so what are you really? How you discipline your child? Because once your child sees you lowering your standards,
no, that's not see you. They see you as an equal.
Yeah, you lower your standards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we'll say they see you as an equal.
Then you have no disciplinary.
Yeah, they have no position. Yeah.
If your children see a revolving door of people coming in, that you lost control.
Right.
If your children see certain things, you lost control. There was a time where you did keep a lot of things out of the house, but now everybody wants to be their children's friend. And they're telling about their sex life and everything.
Yeah. No, I told me and my dad never had them conversations.
Exactly, but
my uncles, me and my uncle are 10 years apart. We had them conversations.
But you have people doing that, like they're doing it. So you creating this.
But you know what? No, go ahead, finish what you're saying.
So you're creating this environment to where you're not even an equal anymore, because now your child's gonna be like, you worse than what I thought. Sometimes I hate to say this, but sometimes you have to keep the veil over the children's eyes.
Yeah, I think so. You don't, in a sense, you don't think that you don't have a sex life.
Yeah, exactly. I hate to say it that way, but you actually right.
You know what I'm saying?
You want them to be like,
when one time I walked in, oh man, it was a shock of my life.
You're like,
what are you? Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I was like, why y'all clothes? I'm standing there and then it's like, oh.
But now it becomes
right.
But once it starts like that, and I know a lot of people are like, well, what does that lead? How does that lead to violence? Because violence is a byproduct of not discipline, being disciplinary, not having control. Because people be like, well, what if the parents are? I guarantee you right now, and they do studies on this, and I really want y'all to and we'll stick to the Black community. They do studies on this. Most violent people come from single parent homes.
Let me back to what I said about me walking on my parents, but they didn't actually explain to me as they didn't give me the blunt. Oh, we're having sex, yo. Hey, we effing around. I'm getting your with your mom. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The kind of way, like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Man, don't tell everybody, but yeah, be your mom wrestler, and so okay, go about your very business. But nowadays, like, nah, I be beating the mama down, beating it up.
You bringing this disrespectful man into your children's lives, and you wonder why your children are violent. You got your children out here having to fight. They're fighting your reputation. People don't even realize that these children are fighting your reputation sometimes at school. Your mama a hoe. Well, why do you think my mama a hoe? Because half the people in the yard are mess with her. It's like, so your male son out there fighting your battles. He got to watch you having multiple men walking through the door and everything. So he trying to figure out what's going on. You want to dress him like you. And it's not just you. It's the males on the other side. Black men not wanting to be there. I heard the
most problem. My son dressing like me.
No, there's difference. Your son could dress like you. You're the man.
Oh, okay.
But no way on God's green earth show a male son dress like the mother.
Oh, hell no.
They're having matching colors and stuff.
Oh, hell no.
Why do Black women do that?
I don't know.
I never. And why do the Black society think that's cute? That's not cute.
No.
But then and I heard this wonderful statement by this man, and it actually hurt my feelings, and I actually repented. He said, y'all sit around here as Black men complaining about single mothers as if you're not out here impregnating these women and not marrying them.
Good point.
He said, y'all out here literally having sex with women and not wanting to marry them.
Yeah.
He said, what you think happens? Now you got a child. If it's a male child, and let's be real, a male child feels it more than a female child because a male child is still trying to find an identity. So what is a male? If his father's not in the home, He's trying to find that male identity. He's gonna find it one or two ways.
You're right.
So we gotta. That's why being a parent is very important, because it leads to so many things when it comes to these children. And I'm one of these people. I do believe. Now, I'm not the best parent in the world. I'll tell you, I always can improve. But I do believe that if we take the time to be more involved with our children, a lot of this violence will go away. It's crazy because you start seeing parents when the children die. The whole time, these parents didn't exist.
Yeah.
These parents didn't let their child run wild, but as soon as their child die or get locked up, all of a sudden, oh, he was a good boy. Then why is he in jail? Oh, he was such a good boy. Then why is he dead? Not everybody that's in jail is innocent, and not everybody that dies is
why is he on
why is
he robbing people? Why is he being a bad example or bad? He'll be
exactly. So, but the parent want to come out after the fact and be like, no, he was a good kid. He was a 4.0 student in the third grade.
Everybody's a 4.0 student.
Exactly. The kid ain't been to school in 10 years.
Especially in kindergarten.
That's what I'm saying. He only have a high school diploma. You told me he was a 4.0. Oh, he had a bright future. Where was you to nurture that? Right. So I hate when people do that, and I know people are gonna be like, oh, you just being salty. You're a hater. No, I'm not being a hater. If you think about it, it sounds stupid. If you tell somebody that your child had a bright future, but yet they're dead because of gang violence, you didn't believe they had a bright future because you didn't have enough balls to pull them out of it. Mm-hmm. Then what we'll hear is, no, it's hard for a single parent. It's hard for parents, period. So let's
it's not out here for a parent, baby.
Exactly. So here's the truth. Two people created that child. If one person has to raise it, then you have to put on the two people pants. Stop using that as an excuse. And maybe that's the biggest issue to the violence in our communities, because we've been allowing these excuses to cover for
we're not being accountable.
That's the thing.
We're not being accountable.
It's like easy. It's easy to say.
And not even, like I said, the parents. It's just those, like I said, the friends of those parents.
Right.
Because, like I said, it don't hurt to sometimes to step in and say, hey, let me help you with this, instead of watching you struggle. Or, hey, how about we come together and do this? You know, it doesn't, and we don't do that enough. There's not enough of us do that. You know, but we get together and gossip about what's going on in Trina's house.
True. I mean, Young Thug did say broke people shouldn't have babies.
And you know what? And like I told you, I can see the point.
But he's in jail now.
He's in jail now. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I can see why he said that, but at the same time, come on. I mean, everybody has that right. But,
yeah. I don't agree with
I can see
it's a two-way. It's scary.
It's a two-way.
It's a two-way.
Because I mean, you might as well live in China in that case.
Yeah, they'll kill your baby for free if it's a girl, right?
It's a girl. It's a girl.
Allegedly, because they control the internet. Allegedly.
So, but I mean, I think a lot of times we want to pass the buck off and we point and we forget, like, hey, we sitting there watching this go on. Like you said, what are we doing our part to prevent? Like I said, that 4.0 kindergarten that had a bright future ended up in the jail, the morgue, penitentiary, the morgue, you know, wherever, or up in the alley, drugged out, you know, getting turned out or pimped out or whatever.
Right.
You know, what are we doing in our part? What's our part? We allow it. You know, like I said, we're allowing the streets to run the neighborhoods instead of taking over the neighborhoods and being over our streets. You know.
So here's the question I have to ask, and I'm asking this. This is an actual general question. This is no malice or anything. It's something that I've been thinking about. So we have these at a graduation. You're having fights,
right?
You're having shootings in churches,
right?
You're having shootings at graduation parties. I think last year a girl got shot at one of the parties around here, and she was running with her phone, and when she got shot, so it was streaming live. Where are the churches? Where are all these community groups? All these black men who are running for Congress, who are running for these seats who claim to be about these communities. Why is this happening in their community if these community groups are up there? If we have a church on every block, then why are we still having violence on these blocks? Why? What's going on? Who's lying?
Well, no, because and I'll be honest with you, the church closes its doors to the community. A lot of churches aren't as involved. Like you think about it, how many churches have you been to in the last 20 years of your life, last 15, 20 years of your life that actually got involved in what's going on right across the street, next door, up a block, a couple blocks down the road?
None. I used to go to a church that was down the street from Creekwood, which, by the way, was one of the biggest drug areas in Wilmington. And that place was still one of the biggest drug areas in Wilmington. There's a church that sits right in front of
that's where the churches are. The doors are closed to the community. No, by means, you're welcome to come in and join the congregation, but they close their doors to the community. We watch a lot. Think about a lot of these movies we watch from before. I remember at one point, like I said, churches usually do at least once a month, like some kind of food drive for the community, or they go and hand out dinners, to people in the projects. My grandmother's church was right across the street from projects.
Yeah.
And they used to do that. I remember that when I was young. They used to cook the food and everything. Of course, the church would have partaking in it, but they made sure they had the food to take out to the community right across the street or down the block. Well, there was much more project. There was more projects around at the time when I was younger. But yeah, we don't. Our black churches don't get as involved as they should. Like you said, only when it's time to get together, to stand in front of a camera. We hold a rally when somebody's passed away. At some big event, we get involved in.
Because when these shootings happen in our community, the black pastors love to run to care. We need to stop the violence. Well, why don't you do it? I mean, if you're supposed to be the figurehead, why don't you do it? More importantly, where are these other mentoring groups at? It is a spade a spade. You can't tell me we have the most mentoring groups ever in the history of any society. We have the most mentoring group ever in the history of just having just different races. Like the black community has a mentoring group for every black person in America. These are facts. And we still got violence. So who's lying?
Because we're not involved as we should be. My thing is, you should have so the group that you're a part of. How often did y'all meet?
We have one full meeting, and then they'll do a community service on another weekend.
So pretty much every once a month.
Once a month, yes.
An actual meeting.
Right, where everybody's together, and then
y'all actually do a thing. So maybe a community service. So twice a month.
Right.
Say twice a month. Okay. So do you feel y'all should be involved more than just a weekend?
This is my personal opinion, and I have shared this on many different occasions. I think every mentoring group in the black community is full of crap. I know for a fact.
But answer the question though.
But I'm out to answer the question.
Right, okay,
this is part of
it. You already said that one time.
Yeah,
you already said that once.
So
let's get to the answer.
So the answer is you have to. And the reason why is because if you treat the individual like you treat a plant, how often do you water a plant?
If it's not a part of your routine, you only when you think to be attentive to it, you
exactly.
Do it. Right.
But the truth is the plant needs water at least every 2 days.
Right. So not necessarily some kind of contact with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it can't be just once a month or twice a month on a Saturday. Because that plant, if you look at our children like plants, then you obviously are involved because the absence of.
Right.
And 9 out of 10 is the absence of a father.
Okay.
So if you say the father is the most important member of a household, facts, Bible, don't lie. I'm not lying. Just look at the Bible. It states that. If the most important member of a family is the father's in the home 24/7.
Right.
Granted, you can't be in the home 24/7,
No, but
it has to be more than just 1 week in a month.
Right.
To have
I
an
agree.
impact.
Yeah.
That you want to see. Now, however, can you have an impact once a month? You can. Will it be? It depends on the child and the environment of the child and things like that.
But I think you gotta be tapped in. So I think you
gotta.
Do. That's what I'm saying. You gotta do it more than 1 week.
You do. It has to be.
And that's the thing, because my thing is this: if you're not getting to know the child, the individual, how you gonna know how to engage them?
Right.
Because you want to take them to a baseball game, but they don't like baseball. You want to take them to a basketball game, they're not into basketball, but they like baseball.
And this is one of the things.
What if they like cricket?
True. One of the things I said about community groups, and I see some doing it, but they don't want to. And I tell people this, and I learned this today too. You can't have fear.
No.
If they see, if they see fear, and this one thing, I prayed about today is the absence of fear, to move without fear in life. There's going to be doubt, but to move as if it's not there, not to let it hinder me, because that could become a prison. I think we are scared in the Black community to look at the problem and to call it out. We're scared because if I say, okay, if I start a community group, if I say I'm gonna start this community group,
a lot of times it is, we know the people that are part of the problem,
right?
So we don't want to be that person. But stop. We got to be that person.
That's
because,
true.
Like you said, how are you gonna complain about your neighborhood and your block? But at the same time, you allow these things to go on. You're afraid to call. And by all means, people don't understand the whole meaning about snitching and get things misconstrued. Now, the snitching is where you do a crime, we do a crime together. I get caught, you didn't get caught, but I tell on you. I tell everything. That's snitching.
Yeah.
Not where, hey, you're in front of my house selling drugs, or you're shooting somebody, and I call the police on you. No, you're a criminal. No, I am a witness, a bystander that saw you do the crime. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I call the cops on you. I am a witness, not worst thing, I am a tattletale.
But is it really tattletale?
Is it really tattletale? No, because why it affected me directly.
And
because you're in front of my house doing that kind of thing.
DJ Academics had a good statement. He says, if I'm not of your code, why are you thinking that I wouldn't do that? I'm not of your code. I'm not. You shoot somebody. I'm not in your game.
Right.
I'm not in the other person's game. I have no. Right. I'm not part of that.
Which makes sense. Which does make a whole lot of sense.
So
now, like I said, the sense of the dude Tekashi, you are of the code because you associate yourself with that kind of group. Okay. Now, that's one thing to say if, like you said, you walking down the street one day, you witness a drive-by, and you tell. That's what I mean. You're a civilian. You have no, but like I said, 9 times out of 10, if you associate yourself, like you run around with them, you throwing up the gang signs, you wearing and you claiming them on camera. Hey, dog. You get
what they get.
You know what I'm saying? You may be a goose, but you quacking like a duck. So okay, we treat you like a duck. Ducks get eaten too.
That's true.
Hey.
So one thing I always said, for me, if I had a mentoring group, 9 times out of 10 they'll be dealing with males, because that's who's committing a lot of the violence is males. Despite the fact that women are actually more violent in certain areas, men are, we're seen as the violent type in our society. It will be a contract with the parents.
Okay.
Whether or not the father's in the home, he will still be part of the contract unless he is dead or in a prison that is somewhere where we can't reach him, or he has not existed.
No, but I think it's a good idea. That should be a good idea.
Because there's no way on God's, because the parents have to understand this. I can't do nothing for your child unless you do something for your child.
Right.
And see what we see is, especially in this society of single parenthood, is the fact that they see all these groups and like, I'll just throw my child to these groups.
Yeah. They'll do everything for me.
Exactly. No, the father still exists. So you have to have the father there. I can't teach your child come to me and he be like, hey, how you get your hair like that? I say genetics. He gonna look at me and look at his head. He may not have that type of genetics. So I mean, that's a funny way of looking at it, but that's the truth. There's just certain things that's going to happen in his life that's going to be genetics. Also, a lot of times we don't realize this. History does repeat itself because you are from both parents.
Yeah.
So whatever was in you and the mother, and vice versa, is going to be in that child. So there's going to be things that happen. So if I bring that child into this group, we have to have understanding. So if I'm sitting down with the mother, which I'm intended would be the mother,
right?
Because no man is going to put their child in a mentoring group. Let's just keep that real.
Okay.
Unless he's part of the group.
Right. No, it makes sense.
Yes.
I can see that.
I mean, I don't know if people really realize this. No man really has put their child in a mentoring group unless he was part of that mentoring group. Right. But it's going to be the mother, and that's going to be a question. And if she says, well, I don't want him involved, I can't have your child.
Okay.
And people will be like, well, that's wrong because you're actually turning away the child. No, what I'm doing is I'm actually helping the child, because what if that can help the father be back in the child's life? The point of a mentoring group is not to be the mentor forever.
No, you're supposed to be a bridge.
Exactly. If the father is there and he's been trying to be there and you want your child in the group, he's going to be a part of the group.
Right.
That's as simple as that.
You're going to mentor the father as well.
Yeah, I'm not the pastor. I'm not going to pacify you and tell you that the man's wrong. Let T.D. Jakes tell you that. It's not going to be me. Creflo Dollar, let them steal your money. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be like, if he's not in jail, dead, or absent to the point of cannot be found, we have to have him in the group. Now, if he comes in the group and he is just straight trash, then of course we'll adjust it from there.
Right.
However, you will probably have a better product if you involve the father in these mentoring groups. If you involve the male figure in these mentoring groups, because one weekend out of the month is not really good.
No, you think about it. Come on. Am I really getting to know you if I meet you one weekend a month?
No.
By that time, I'm going to forget what you like. I might forget your name.
Hell, if I had children of my own, I might not make every month. Exactly. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Exactly.
Life happens with mentors. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, there were times that I couldn't make it because I have a life. Unfortunately, that's the other part of mentoring that that I think that the Black community needs to understand. They're not meant to raise your child. It's not their responsibility. It is a privilege.
Right.
But it should not be the norm. And what we have done is turn these things into norms. We turn single parents into norms. We turn mentoring groups into norms. We turn poverty into a norm. We turn violence into a norm. We turn disrespecting each other into a norm.
Right.
To the point where that's all they see. So if they have no respect for their parents, they're not going to have respect for their mentor. That's the other reason why.
Right.
If I see a child, there's nothing I could do with a child that will curse out their mother.
Right.
That's the truth.
No, I agree.
I can't do nothing with that child. Once you reach that point, because the only thing I can do is put hands on you. If I have to put hands on you, then there's an issue, because at that point, that means you as a parent lost control.
Yeah.
I can't be the disciplinary because I'm not there.
You're not the parent.
Exactly. So there's a lot of dynamics in that. And that's where you see, when you see the breakdown, because usually when you see people, the violence that we're seeing has already been shown in the home.
Very true.
The violence we're seeing is just overflow of the home.
Yeah.
Because if there was, it's rare, and I want people to understand this, it's rare that you have a child who's really a good child, a good student, really go down that bad path. It's rare. Yeah. It's not the common thing that people think. It's actually more rare because usually they'll try to avoid, and more people will invest in them to avoid that. So
it's not a natural thing.
Exactly.
Unless it's something And I've seen it that they purposely go down that path because they just don't.
Exactly. And then that's the point. It's done on purpose. Other than that, it's a child whose home life does not have the four walls, the stability. Right. The child can go and come and say, please, they could curse out the parent.
They
barely eat. Exactly.
Or eat what they want, or like you said, they have to run the house. They have to run the house.
And once you lose control, so now that violence is just going to seep out. And then you got to ask yourself, where they're getting this violence from? TV, okay, internet, maybe in school a little bit, but maybe it's the home.
Okay.
If I see my father out here slapping people, seeing my father out here gang banging, because men do the same thing as women. They forget that at a certain age you need to grow up. We forget sometimes. We want to walk around with our shirt off too, looking stupid.
Yeah.
If you see that, and then think about a male, and I really want women to really listen to what I'm about to say. And I saw this with my own eyes. I really saw this. First off, I looked because she was sexy.
Wow.
She wanted me to look. She wore the exact outfit for me to look that day. Okay. She woke up that morning and said, I know my Sean is going to be around here. I don't know who he is, but I know he's going to be around here. I'm going to wear this particular outfit to make him look.
Right.
But you know what scared me the most? Is the fact that I didn't look at her. I looked at her son that was right beside her.
Yeah.
What image are you giving your son?
Right.
When your son see men looking at you,
right,
disrespecting you.
Yeah.
I mean,
good point, man. Good point.
I don't walk around with my shirt off with my daughter in public.
Right.
I don't go around trying to wear the tightest clothes in public with my daughter, things like that. I don't try to wear sweatpants that grip me in areas and things like that, because it's a respect thing.
Right.
But if your son at an early age seeing his mother being disrespected, he's already lost sight of how to treat a female. And the first female he's going to disrespect is who?
Your mom. I don't know a kid like that right now to be talking to mom sideways.
So when we look at the violence, we have to ask ourselves, what are we showing in the home? And I even have to look at myself and say, what am I showing in the home? And It's a constant, and I always tell people, it's always constant self-reflection. You have to always
need to. I think we all need to do that on a daily basis of self-reflection. Whether you self-reflecting 3 days prior, up until the moment, or whatever, or up to every second. I mean, we need to. I apologize to somebody today because I told them, hey, I said something, and I was jokingly, in a way it came off of my mind. I was like, wait a minute, I said it, and oh no, I didn't pay no mind. It offended me. Like, no, but at the same time, I respect you enough,
right,
to so please, please accept my apologies. Said, no, we're good. And I was just like, okay, because I don't ever want you to think that I'm always, to always think highly of this individual, and like I said, we don't ever want to think that you take things lightly and for granted.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, yeah, we need to do a lot of self-reflecting, more of it, and then try to readjust. Because if we self-reflect on the negative things and we love and we cool with it, how things went over, by all means, there's something wrong with you, period.
Right.
Like I said, the pettiness, disrespectfulness, being violent, outright rude, nasty. Come on, we feel like we're entitled to do whatever we feel.
We have first world issues.
Okay. Guess what? We continue these first world issues. We'll be a third world nation.
But you know what? That's actually what we're heading down to, because a lot of people don't realize is we're afforded certain things that other nations don't have, like mentoring groups and everything. Think about this. We're sending missionaries overseas. No missionaries are coming over here.
No.
So we have first world issues. Yeah. And the violence we have, and like I said, I'm reading Acho's book, and In his book, he wrote about his father. And what scares me the most is, as Black people, we have been done wrong. A system has been set in place. We have been done wrong, and it's continuously has worked its way into pinning us against each other.
Right.
Think about a child in Nigeria during the 60s and 70s. They were fighting in a war.
They still fighting war.
Exactly, a child.
Yeah.
Acho talked about his father because his grandfather had passed away. So guess who went to war? But more importantly, he had to provide for the family. So the only way you could provide is to fight. So he had to fight in the war. Whether or not he believed in the war, or not he fought in the war. He saw his friends die. He saw family die and everything in this war. The only thing his father could think of is to come to America to provide a better life for his family. And he came to America with his wife, and they worked as janitors. And they worked to provide a family to see their children graduate from college, go play in the NFL, become best-selling authors, TV commentary, things like that. And it frightens me because our conditions are bad, but our opportunities are still greater.
Right. But look, we'll go ahead and finish what you're saying.
But we're shooting down every opportunity because we're fighting each other.
Right.
Where can we escape to? He had America to escape to.
Yeah.
We don't. Where can we escape to escape the violence? How can we remove ourselves? You know, they used to call Chicago Chirac. That's not funny.
Mm.
People are dying. People are being traumatized. But where can they go?
Okay.
So
well, and that's all I'm gonna say this. You can leave a country, but where are you actually leaving? Because it stays with you.
True.
So for that answer, you can't escape. You can't escape to wherever you feel what the opportunities are. Like I said, opportunities are not only just here in this country, but I think we're looking at the wrong lanes as opportunities. Like, there's nothing wrong with entertainers. There's nothing wrong with being athletes. But now that we see so much of us succeed in the lanes, that's where we should be focusing on, as opposed to inventors, scientists, physicists, chemists, biologists, doctors, plumbers, masons, carpenters, mechanics. I mean, architects, developers. I mean, project managers, teachers, janitors. I mean, like I told you, we allow people that entertain us to be the pillars of our community, and they don't even live in our community.
I agree.
And that's pretty much what you're saying. And it's like I said, we're taking cues from people that don't even live next door to us in much as the same block, or probably not even the same city for a lot of us.
That's true.
Not even the same tax bracket, if they're on the tax bracket.
No, I agree with you. I think that's the most horrible thing. That's why I said, the vantage point from yesterday, you got to be careful when you get these advice from people who has a certain vantage point, because they may not remember if they climbed up the hill. More importantly, a lot of people like Elon Musk never had to climb a hill, but you thinking he got out the mud. No, he got it from his mama.
Yeah.
I tell y'all, people they be killing me when they be like, look what he did. It's easy to do stuff when you have at least $100 million. Sure. It is easy to make money with money, and we don't realize that. That's why it's very important as Black people that we do carve an identity. You know, one thing with me listening to Malcolm X is the fact that when you start listening back to the civil rights era, you start realizing towards the tail end of it, before people were dying and laws were being changed, the message actually changed. It went from trying to be equal to, wait a second, we need to have our own pie. Right. Because it was about being equal with Martin Luther King, but then, like you said, he started saying, "No, wait a second, we need to start fighting with these unions, and we need to start, hold up now." Right. With Malcolm X, once he started realizing, what, yes, the white man is a problem, but once he came back from Mecca, a lot of his message changed. I don't think people really understand that. It changed a lot. Right. And he was like, no, we need to start having our own. We need to start building, because people started seeing that once those laws got lifted, they saw this. They saw now. Yeah. And they saw it was going to go downhill because we were not having our own. When we were having our own, we wanted to be equal, but they saw we needed to continue that. Right. When I saw, I read comments on people posts sometimes because it's cute. I try not to because they, like we say, it goes down a rabbit hole. And next thing you know, you've been called every nigga in the world of niggas. But there's one guy, black guy. He wrote, "That's why I don't shop at black businesses. Why can't they just be businesses?" And I thought about it, just like with the mixed girl when she said what she said about affirmative action. I said, if everything was just you would not have a separation if separation wasn't already there. True. So if we were all business and we were all getting equal money and everything, and we was all, and I'm not saying equal, but I'm just saying like we was all on the same footing as far as how we had our business instead of this and third, then yeah, you wouldn't have to worry about me saying that I'm a black-owned business. However, that's not what's happened. Right. What has happened was our businesses have not flourished under the oppression of what this society has done. So we are identifying, hey, we are black businesses because we want the recognition and know that black businesses do exist for our people of color. Right. Every other race, matter of fact, I won't use every other race. I stick with the Latin community. It's a Latin business. Right. Whatever country they're from, that flag will be flying high. True. Whatever language they speak, they will be speaking.
You will be speaking it. They'll speak English be coming if you speak English, but pretty much their primary language is whatever it may be. Spanish.
And they will cater to their people no matter what.
Yeah.
And nobody says a word. Right. But when it comes to black people having that identity, it's always been an issue. We have to understand that our identity is one of the strongest identities in the world. True. Because it's the most suppressed. Right. That's why we're killing each other, because we don't have an identity. We don't feel comfortable in our own skin. We don't feel comfortable in our own society. You could tell me, oh, well, you're on TV. No, I'm not. You just have a representation of what you think I am on TV, which has always been. Even as black people, we shun the Cosby Show, but the Cosby Show was probably one of the best representations of us ever in the history of TV. Right. You had people who wasn't violent, who were successful, who were raising children, not perfectly, but they were raising children. Right. And they wasn't with the foolishness that every other black TV show had, because Good Times would be second, but even in Good Times, we had to be poor. Right. And James had to work 3 jobs. Right. So after that, you had 4 black women living single. You had Martin and Gina. And you know what's crazy? And we laughed about this. Do you realize how much verbal abuse on the Martin show there was between Martin and Pam? Yeah. To the point that you can say that was the first time we was introduced to how black men saw light-skinned women. because he used to dog Pam features.
You mean Darcy?
Yes,
Yeah.
but she represented that.
Right.
He used to dog her features
Yeah.
while lifting up Gina.
Yeah. No, I was on Pam. Pam was mine. Yeah.
I thought Pam had that booty. She still got that booty too. That's sad too. It's amazing how she aged perfectly in Tisha kind of, but you know, life happens. But that's the point. You know, we don't even see how that changed how we probably view women, but we took it as jokes.
Mm-hmm.
But how many times have that happened in our community where we call them the dozens? We're cracking jokes on people. So we're lowering our self-esteem. We already got bad self-esteem depending on what neighborhood you came from, depending on how the makeup of your family is. You know, at one point, you know, if you didn't have a father at home, that was actually embarrassing.
Right.
Now if you have two parents, and it's more embarrassing. Think about it, you got good kids who are trying to
be bad.
Exactly. You know, think about ATL. What they call the girl Nunu. My man went to her house and said, "You got a Picasso on your wall." Really? You got a Picasso? And you want the pissy hallways?
Yeah. I'll take the Picasso.
I'll take the Picasso. Like you afforded all the opportunity, but you want to run to that, which is funny because that actually mirrored her own life in real life because she ran to Lil Wayne and she ran to Nipsey Hussle. So it just shows you how that those things have influenced us. So is you know, I guess the ultimate question would be, how can we fix this? And honestly, there is no one answer.
No, it's not because there's no one solution, there's no one problem. You know, and there's no blanket statement, no blanket anything that could cover everything.
Right.
I agree. Because it's always economical, mental, spiritual, physical, mental. You know, it's just, you know, I think it's the point now. Like I told you, when we got to the point, like we felt that we made it, we just veered off the path. You know,
maybe that's the biggest deceitfulness.
It is. We feel we've made it. We fed the delusion that we made it, not only by others, but within ourselves. You know, you think about it. You know, once they said everything is equal, no longer separate, or supposed to be no longer separate but equal, you can come drink from the same water fountain. You can shop in my stores. You can walk in my neighborhood. You can live in my neighborhood. And, you know,
we acted a fool ever since.
We feel that we're entitled to these things. You know,
entitlement issues.
But we feel, but if we're not doing each other right in our neighborhoods and our home, how we expect others to do us.
I agree with you, man. So before we go, we'll lighten the load. And so I really personally, big picture, I don't care. But I find it's I always call these things like the perfect example of where society is. So apparently, you know, Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey broke up.
Okay.
Guess it's saying mutual. However, you know, people are saying that, you know, she doesn't want to get married and things like that. None of our business. But what I find interesting is, number one, I think she's like 25.
Yeah.
Why is that a problem if she don't want to get married?
She's 25 years old.
But that's the problem with these so-called Black manosphere men. You don't want to marry nobody, truth be told. You don't want me because y'all all ain't married. Y'all don't have women. Y'all kiss and love on each other, which is nothing wrong with that. Peace and love, my brothers on that. But y'all are literally trying to drag her through the mud, calling her she's for the streets and everything, all because she don't want to get married.
She's 25 years old.
She's 25 years old. I'm guessing she's 25. I mean, she might be a little bit younger.
I think she's in, either way, she's in her 20s.
Right. Like
Michael B. Jordan's in his 30s.
Right.
He's like 35.
So
he's at the age where he's ready to watch her winding it down.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. But if she's not on the same page, you can't So what? Whoever she moves on to, she decides to move on to. Kim Kardashian been married how many times now?
Exactly. So,
but we are, and
that's my issue.
You know?
First off, we're down at her. She's a black woman. They just crush her and as a black woman.
And she didn't go out and say anything bad about him or nothing like that. She didn't, hey, put out a statement. Hey, we're no longer together.
Right.
They say they're both heartbroken, whatever by all means, and maybe they'll come back down the road.
Why? This is where my issue has really resonated with this black manosphere and with just black men in general. Why are you caring?
Because we feel we know black women. Like black women feel they know us. No. We know stereotypes of one another.
Okay.
Which we, compel to bring out each other.
Because I'm the type of person.
And we get upset when we're dating. When we date outside our races.
True. That's true.
And we marry and have kids outside our
races. Yeah.
So that's just what it is at this point.
I'm the type of person. I don't care how it affects relationships moving forward. If you are a black male and you did a video calling Lori Harvey anything but her name, you are a punk. Because black men should have never spoke on a black woman. Something
like that.
Yeah,
it's not like she was out with another man.
Exactly. You didn't prove no point except that you are a punk.
Only thing is, she's known to date. She dated Future. Future's known to date a lot of women. So okay.
Everybody has a bump on the log, and if you don't have a bump on the log, then maybe you wasn't dating. You had.
What y'all say about Sierra? She had a kid by Future.
Yeah, she moved on. She doing everything.
She had relations with Descent. She had relations with Bow Wow. She had relations with somebody else too.
But the problem is, and what I realize is that these men are mad because they can't attain these women. But you have to understand, she can't date Bob in baggage claim.
She can if she wants to.
She could. However, she can't. I mean, she could. Now, unfortunately, black men, we do that a lot. We date women who don't, we reach down. And, unfortunately, we do that. But women rarely do that unless
they're desperate.
Exactly, unless they're desperate. But most of the time, in that area of life, they're gonna go to someone who has what they feel like is comparable to them, and that's okay. I can't get mad at that. That's their dating pool. We all have a dating pool. Sometimes some of y'all need to reach up and hop into another dating pool because y'all been swimming in the same cesspool for the longest. That the person who they mess with.
That clear water now is muddy.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you like this: if it gets to the point where y'all know each other, everybody y'all don't mess with, y'all don't need to mess with each other. y'all might need to separate.
Yeah, y'all for the streets, already.
Yeah. So just men, stop commenting on women, man. It's just. If you want a better black man as you claim you do, then do that. You don't have to. You never have to put black because this is what happens. You putting her down, but the other man is going to start putting another black woman down. Then another man going to start putting black women down, and then another man is just going to start killing them.
Then the response, black women are going to start putting black men down.
Exactly. So we have to be careful with these things. So be careful how you put stuff out there. But that's it for us today. We're going to shoot again tomorrow as we prepare for this weekend coming up. Yes, it will be a fantastic weekend because we will be doing this entrepreneur with the youth. Yes, with the youth. And we will have a lot more details for it. Please check us out on all platforms. We're going to get back to making sure you see the links on Facebook, Instagram, Poop. I think one was called Poop. Maybe I just created that.
Right. Okay.
It's called Poop. I'm gonna create that one. That's mine.
All right.
It's gonna be like a little turd every time. Poop, poop, poop. It's for all the girls that go to Dubai. Allegedly.
Right. I've been there, right? Okay.
Yeah. Allegedly.
All right.
William Coleman, Marshawn Taylor. We're out.